Hi, my name is MJ. Welcome to our yoga class, week 1. Starting a downward facing dog, hands at shoulder width distance, feet at a hip width distance. Make an upside down V with your body. Press the thighs back and squeeze the navel to spine. To inhale, lift your leg high, keeping the hips square to the ground. Wrap your biceps out and squeeze your forearms towards one another. As you exhale, bring your knee through to your nose. Lift your hips up high, navel pulls to spine, shoulders on top of the wrists. Spread your collarbones and then gently step your foot through, place it between the palms. Once the foot steps through, bring your back knee to the ground and lift your arms to the ceiling for a crescent moon. Lunge into the front shin. Lift up out of the lower back. Wrap the biceps away from the face, triceps point forwards. Feel length up through to your chest, and then bring your hips back for a half splits pose. Hips on top of the knee or on top of the heel. If you have blocks, place them under the palms as you reach your breastplate forwards and spread the collarbones. The toes will be flexed back towards your face. As you pull that all the way back to the hip crease. When you're ready, plant your palms, bring your front foot back, and then lower your chest down to the ground, maybe your forehead or your chin. The arms reach out, the hips stay on top of the knees. Getting space in the side body, the triceps, the underarms, movement in the spine. When you're ready, sliding forwards, bring your palms beneath your shoulders, press into the palms for an upward facing dog. Who's welcome to take a baby cobra, leaving the torso closer to the ground, using little to no weight in the hands and lifting the torso. For an up dog, the thighs and knees are lifted, the shoulder heads pulled back, the chest pulls through the biceps. And then bring yourself foot forwards between the palms, straighten your front leg, moving into a modified pyramid. The front leg is straight, the back heel is lifted, chest plate pulls forwards. Again, use block under the palms if you need. You also have an option to bring your chest closer towards the thigh, the front thigh, walking your hands back, navel pulls into the spine. Again, the back heel is lifted nice and high. Also welcome to flex the front toes up, coming onto the front heel. The front thigh, the hamstring pulls back to the glute. Pivot to the side and open your legs wide for Prasarita Padottanasana. The feet are either parallel or pigeon toed. You can bring your peace fingers around your big toes. As you reach your breastplate forwards, lift the hamstrings and the inner thighs up. The knees are firm and the hamstrings press forwards to slightly shift forwards. Bring your glutes down to one calf. As you bend one knee, turn those toes out. Straighten the other leg. You have an option to lift the toes off the ground of the straightened leg. The thigh bone will pull back towards the hip. An option as well to lift a top arm, maybe extend the other arm out. If you need blocks under the hands, please use them. Bring yourself back to Prasarita Padottanasana. This time the hands can walk back in between the legs, back behind you. Keep the collarbones wide, and again the hamstrings lifted. Then we take it to the other side. Bend the opposite knee, turn the toes out, and then bring your left glute, or whichever side you choose, down towards the calf. The toes can flex back towards your face. Another option is by grabbing the big toe. The arm closest to the bent knee can press into it to help open the hip. The chest lifts, the collarbone spread. Another option here is to lift the arms, really pulling the thighs in, especially the extended leg. The pelvic floor is lifted, the navel pulls back to the spine. To lift, think of the internal body really supporting you and lifting up through to the chest, all the way up to your fingers. And we bring ourselves back into the center again for Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. Again, it's your choice where you place the fingers, where you place the hands. On the big toes, underneath the elbows, or maybe walking them back a little further. Now this is just an option. You can place the palms onto the ground, make sure that you are on the crown of your head, maybe just lifting one or both toes off the ground for a headstand. This is only an option, as I said. You don't have to try it. Please make sure that you do feel comfortable and confident doing this. The navel will be in, really using the strong core for support. And again, if you do have a headstand practice, maybe the legs can lift a little higher, thinking about the hips staying on top of the crown of the head. The navel pulls into the spine, really supporting. And bring yourself back down. Feet to the ground. Again, you have another option to move into Skandasana on one side, taking an arm variation, this time maybe both hands to heart center. Make sure you take both sides of this as well, taking it over to the other side. We also have many other variations and options. The extended leg will pull into the thigh. One other option is an arm raised, one arm reaching out to the side. Feel the pelvic floor lift again, really supporting, getting more space in the torso, in the spine. When you're ready, bring your hands to the ground and come back to a wide leg straddle stand. So again, the feet are parallel, the arms reach out nice and wide. Pelvic floor lifts, shoulders plug into their sockets. Now when we take these poses, when we do it one side to the other, always remember to do both sides. Now turn to one side, your choice of preference to start. And toe heel the front foot out past the knee, coming into a runner's lunge. Now you can either take this passive with the knee on the ground, or in a second you'll see an active position with the back knee lifted. And you can either be on your palms, your forearms. If you do have props, as in blocks, then you can use them as well. Here you can see the active pose, the back thigh is pressing up towards the sky or the ceiling. The front shin bone is pulling back to bring the hip or the femur bone back into the pelvis, into the hip socket. When you're ready, press into the palms, bring the front shin across for a half pigeon pose. The back leg will be directly behind the back hip socket. The front toes can be flexed, and you can again be here on the palms and to your fingertips. Using blocks as well if you need, you can bring them beside the hips. Again, the internal body lifts and supports. You now have an option to bend the back knee and reach the hand back to grab the foot. Squeezing the outer thighs together, the front toes flex like a little kickstand. You can lift the top arm up towards the ceiling, really using a lot of support and strength in the body. Again, the outer thighs hug for stability. And then an option for the top arm to reach back, moving into a full mermaid pose. The back hip pulls forwards, the front hip pulls back. Gently pull the navel to the spine and create space in the lower spine by lifting the heart space up. When you're ready, slowly release this. Hands come to the ground. And then bring yourself again to Prasarita Padottanasana. And making sure that you take both sides of pigeon pose. First one leg, then the other. And both sides of the runner's lunge position. In Prasarita, let the spine lengthen, the chest pull to the long end of the mat if you're using a mat. And now we move into a modification of a goddess pose. Toes turn out. The knees pull out as the thighs wrap back and down. You can come up onto the toes, tips. You also have an option to cross the arms and come onto the fingers. Then cross the arms the other way as well, coming onto the fingertips. Now another variation here is bear pose. Really lifting up through the pelvic floor. The navel pulls all the way up to the spine. The arms will reach forwards. Bringing the torso, the arms, the head, everything in line with the hips. Keep pulling the knees back, and again, if you're up on the toes, lift the heels nice and high. When you're ready, bring your hands to the ground, and then slowly bring your bottom to the ground. Extend your legs out for a wide leg forward fold. Walking your torso in between the thighs, the toes flex straight up, as well as the knees pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Pull the navel forwards, tip the pubic bone back. And then when you're ready, slowly release that by coming up to a seat. With your peace fingers, grab onto the big toes and slowly lift your feet towards the ceiling. Kick the heels away, the toes flex towards your face, sitting back onto the sitting bones. Again, the internal body really helps to support you. Pelvic floor is lifted, the navel pulls back. Another variation or modification is bringing the legs in towards one another. Again, pushing through the heels, pulling the navel up. So you're sitting just behind the sitting bones. You'll feel a little shelf there. Again, the fingers are hooked around the big toes. The thumbs seal the circle by pressing the thumbs against the two peace fingers. When you're ready, you can release your legs towards the ground and then come to lie on your back. Bring the soles of your feet flat against the ground beneath the knees and lift the hips up for a bridge pose. Roll the shoulder heads beneath you. You have an option for a variation to interlace the fingers. Have extremely long arms and a deep bridge pose. You can hook the fingers around the front of the ankles or shins. Now lift the outer hips as you relax the pubic bone. Climb out of the spine up to the shoulders. A variation of this as well. Maybe the fingers interlace beneath you. You can lift a leg towards the ceiling, toes flex back towards you, making sure both hips are even. Release one foot and then take it to the other side again. And when you're ready, we make our way all the way onto our back for Shavasana. Legs wide, arms wide. If you need to support the body, place blocks under the knees and allow yourself to simply be. Staying here for a minimum of 3 to 4 minutes. Anywhere up to 10, 20 minutes, just allowing yourself to take in and soak in all the benefits that you created in your practice today. Namaste.